Welcome back to the Knowledge Circle. Got some guests with me. My boy RJ, lovely lady Camille here. We're going to speak on men and women. This should be a very interesting conversation. Me being a single man, Camille being a single woman, and RJ being married. It's a diverse panel here. So I'm very excited about this conversation. So first conversation we're going to bring up is the accountability subject, right? Like, we all, in my estimate, like, we don't seem to take an account into like what we bring to the table and like what we cause to make things go awry. It's always the other person, right? They didn't do this for me. They didn't love me enough. But it's like, well, what did you do to help that person along, right? Are you ever really accountable for yourself? As men, we mess up all the time, and we really don't we don't fess up like we should. But to make every relationship work, just in life, you have to be accountable to your own bullshit. Like, I don't know if you guys want to speak on that. What your take on accountability is in a relationship?
Yeah.
As a person.
I mean, really, accountability is like one of the biggest things in a relationship.
Right, being married. That's like,
yeah, like open communication, doing what you say you're gonna do. If you don't do what you say you're gonna do, at least being honest and saying, yeah, I fucked up and I didn't do what I was supposed to do. I mean, people think it's like, all about like the whole cheating side of things too. It's everything in your day to day. So like, even if you say you're gonna take out like the trash or something like that, and that's so minute, but if you say you're gonna do it, just do it. If you don't, then be honest.
Things compound each other, right? Things compound each other. Your ideas on accountability?
I really think that it is very important with every relationship, specifically if it's like a mate type of relationship, just because people are looking for that too. Like, as much as we want people to be accountable, we have to ensure that we are really in tune with what's going on, so that way we are able to see our faults and just point out your own bullshit is the best.
Yes.
And
no
it also
perfect.
Yeah, it's not, and it's really, it goes further than relationships, because it's about yourself too, because you have to hold yourself accountable for a lot.
I think it's the hardest thing on the planet to do. Is to look at yourself in the mirror and go, man, all that issue that drama was having, I caused a good chunk of that. And to have that be pointed out to yourself is hard. People, and they're afraid of it, which I don't think people are holding themselves accountable because they're afraid of the truth of it, of you being the cause of your own issues.
And it's difficult. It's difficult to see, because we see what we're doing, we know why. We know why we're doing it, or sometimes we don't. But we have different things going on in our head, but it's hard for us to look from the outside and actually see, like, no, it was me wrong in that. Like, I should have let them know what was wrong with me so they could have done this or that, but it's hard.
Yeah, I also think, for people, it might be hard to take ownership on certain things too. And really, that's what it comes down to, is just taking ownership of your own actions.
Especially when you hurt somebody.
Yeah, exactly.
That shit is hard.
When you have to fess up and be like, yo, I did hurt you, or my actions did hurt you, because I don't think anybody sets out with the intentions to hurt somebody unless you're like truly a spiteful person.
Which there are those people in the world.
There are those people in the world, but like in a relationship, if you are in a relationship with somebody, you're gonna hurt them from time to time, regardless of you want to or if you don't want to. It's just
right, directly or indirectly. Right?
It's a natural part of a relationship. But that's one thing about understanding each other, is that you are gonna hurt each other, but that's a chance to grow with each other. And I think a lot of times in relationships, people tend to grow apart because they've been hurt by the person that they're supposed to be in a relationship, instead of openly communicating and saying, hey, this hurt me, and this is how we grow from it.
Communication. This is, all right. So men and women, we seem to have a divide in that in itself. We don't seem to communicate well. And I'm part of accountability and things like that. What can we do, like you being a woman, speaking to a man, to help us communicate better with you guys?
I think my biggest thing is perception is everything. So regardless of how we're communicating, how you receive the information I'm communicating to you, that's the biggest thing. So I don't know, when it depends on the opposite sex and all that, like, what do you hold a value? Like, if you value the person, then you need to learn their language, their love language, their
Oh, yes.
anger
Yeah, we
language.
was like one of those little pumps.
No, it's the truth, but it's like you gotta value them because you don't take the time to do that with everyone. Because some people are like, okay, this is the way that I present everything, and that's just that, But when you care, like you have to learn their language to make sure that the way that you guys communicate is cohesive. Like you.
Right.
And not only that, like you have to, that's why I say you have to learn them. You have to learn their perception and everything because that is everything. That's each individual's reality. Like we can be presented with the same thing, but the way you perceive it can be completely different. That's the same with like, the egg and it softens a potato, but it also hard boils an egg. Water, so it just depends.
Yeah, I would say from the man side, I think we need to be more open with our feelings and be more open with our emotions. I think a lot of times
Emotional intelligence.
we tend to keep things bottled up, and when that happens, like you can't expect to have a fruitful relationship. I know with me and my wife, for a long time, like I harbored a lot of pain. I didn't open up about things, and until I got to the point where I was fully and completely open, that's when our relationship started to flourish. That's when, we started to just flourish in all parts of our lives, not just in the relationship side, but like, that's when the partnership started to begin.
Oh, that was my question. Did you finally stop looking at her as just like another person, as like you're my actual partner in life? So what I go through, you're gonna go through. So I don't feel like, did you feel like you're gonna cheat them to judge you if you opened up? Like did that finally kind of just go away once you finally opened up?
I mean, for me, it's all personal, For me, I didn't want to be seen as a weak person. Especially being a man and being a provider, like we tend to have our own perceptions of what it means to be like a real man. You gotta be a real nigga, whatever. But until you start to open up and like fully be open with your partner, like you're not gonna have a full understanding of what's going on. And because of that, like now when I have like a bad day, my wife reacts differently to it. When she has a bad day, she reacts differently, or I react differently to how she reacts because we have that better understanding of each other.
Okay. Traumas. I think like transparency is also another topic, right? Transparency. I believe like when you're dating someone, even like on the first date, it's good to open up with your trauma. Like what has caused you to be who you are today? Because if you put up the facade that you're this perfect person, eventually I'm gonna find out who you really are. And I'm gonna be upset because you wasted my time. If it's a person I don't like. Like if we were able to put things up front from the very beginning, I think people will be better off like from that point. Like transparency for me is like the biggest thing.
I say there's levels to this shit.
There is.
No, because especially presenting all your trauma and all your issues.
Well, not everything all at once, but just something to where you can like be open about who you really are. Like
who you are, yeah.
That's the biggest thing for me.
Like what you look like, getting up and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. I think personally, from the guy's side, we're always going to put our best foot forward and try to make ourselves look as best as we can. The reason being is like when you go into a relationship or when a guy is trying to, be on the chase for a woman, it's definitely a sales pitch, and anything else beyond that is.
It is a sales pitch.
It's just a sales pitch.
Because you guys have to choose us. We can want you all we want, but you still have to choose us in the end.
If I show you like,
honestly,
if I had like the new Apple computer, I was like, yo, this thing is like the new flashy stuff, but also when you hit the power button twice, it's not going to turn on ever again. You're not going to want to buy it, right? So we're always going to come with our best foot, and we're going to put that forward. But also, I think one thing about growing with somebody is the fact that you never stop learning about that person. If you have obvious red flags, then yes, I think you should address those early on in your relationship. So you give the other person a chance to bail, and if they decide to bail, then let them go. They were never meant to be in a relationship, and if you did stay in that relationship, it would have been a poisonous relationship anyway. So
right, and that's kind of my point of the transparency. Let people know what it is, so they can then make the decision. Go, okay, I see what you have. Right, I see it. I see all the baggage. Do I want to carry it or not? Right, and that's my choice. If I choose to carry it and then I didn't talk bad about it, me carrying it, then that's on me. Right, at least you gave me up front my choice. Some people take that choice away from people, where it's this tucked up figure that you never see until a year later, and now you're all confused.
So
Like,
I have a question about that with cheating.
right?
So that's in the same aspect. So do you feel that you should be like upfront with that, let the person know what it is and they decide if they want to keep it rolling, keep it moving? Or do you feel as though that is something that should be hidden?
In the past, I was very secretive, which caused me to be a single man today, right? In the past. Me growing from that experience, it's best to be upfront or just stay single, right? Because that's where I'm at in my life. I would say most men aren't going to be upfront with it. Most people aren't going to be upfront with it, right? Because what you don't know won't hurt you in a scenario type situation. Now, if you can live with that, and the person will never find out, and you guys have a good life other than what you know. Now, if it's habitual and it's a problem for you, then you should speak up about it. Like to be honest, having a sexual addiction is a real thing for a lot of people, especially for men, especially even like hypersexual from a young age. Like sex is very, very important to a lot of men. So if you're in that vein, which is again why being transparent with who you are as a person. If you know you're a person that loves to have a lot of sex, you should be very upfront to this person about like, look, I need it a lot. And if at any point you can't satisfy that, please let me know, because if you don't, I'm going to do this and this and that. Right? Now, that person decides to stay with that person, then that's on their relationship. But at least if you're upfront with it, I feel like you give people a choice about it. But in cheating, though, I mean, that's hard, though. Like, would you cheat and then be very upcoming with it at first? Like, would you just all of a sudden, okay, cheat and then go tell your dude?
I have before.
Okay.
I think, yeah.
That's good. That's good. A lot of people don't have that.
I have, and it did definitely cause an issue in the relationship, and it was unspoken, but it came to pass. Mm-hmm.
I think if you can cheat on somebody and not feel any sort of guilt
You're a
or
psychopath.
anything towards that person, either you don't truly love the person that you're with and you're probably wasting your own time anyway and you shouldn't be single, or if, like you said, you're a psychopath, if you don't feel anything,
somebody doesn't have
like
empathy.
you just,
Some people just don't have it. It's just
So-
in their nature, they're narcissists.
yeah, I mean, I think you should just be open about it, like,
But on the subject of cheating, right? Song "Black Men Don't Cheat," right? The phrase "Black Men Don't Cheat." What I've been dealing with over the last, I don't know, maybe month or two, that has been a thing, like having this conversation with women, is that as soon as we say that, automatically you guys, not saying you,
That,
but
we do that, we laugh.
that for sure,
Right.
and you regress into what your trauma was. But you had a man that cheated on you, he was a black man, right? And I understand that. We don't excuse men who cheat or who have cheated. The whole point of that phrase is to change the narrative for the future of these young men out here, right? Because there's no real guidance for them. They see everything on TV. But if I have sons, right, so the biggest thing for me is showing them what it is to be a man, right? A man takes care of the home, a man doesn't stray from his home,
From
right?
his home. That is
Once you
right.
made a commitment to it,
That's
right? If you
right.
made a commitment to love and honor and do all these things in front of your family and everybody else, then you have to honor that commitment and show that to your children. On the flip side to that is, all right, people have a past. You have to learn and grow from that past. But what I don't understand, what I don't like, is like you guys believe that it just cannot be done, as if all men cheat, which is not the scenario.
When you say it cannot be done, monogamy or just not cheating?
Just men, black men not cheating. Us as a culture having this movement and trying to push it, like as if like if your man says black men don't cheat, you know you cheated in the past.
Right.
You're like, well, yeah, well, you cheated before.
Yeah, because he's a black man and he cheated. It's
Right.
Specifically, if he has cheated on me and he's a black man and he tells me, black men don't cheat. Sir, black man, you cheated. So it's
But
like,
he was,
it's
maybe
a
he was a
fact.
boy at the time though.
Okay,
Right.
that's a different
Right.
aspect that you look
Right.
at that differently. So, a boy.
Because you are a man who was married, right? I'm pretty sure there's women everywhere, but you don't
Yeah.
stray from your wife because you are a man. Now, if you're a boy who's married to her,
yeah, I mean, like,
it's very easy.
do I have urges? Absolutely.
Of course.
That's every
It's
person
nature.
has
It's
urges.
biology.
But I don't necessarily act on them. And there are times, like, one, I'm very uncomfortable with, like, getting passed on anyway. So I'm like, like I would react weird to it. So,
Right.
but
You're getting turned down. But getting turned down is a blow to the soul.
but yeah, like,
I don't take the word no as something.
has it happened? Yeah, absolutely. Where it's like, oh yeah, there's somebody that's like, oh yeah, like what's going on? I'm like, you know what? You know, I definitely could. But then it's like, for me, it's just like, do I want to throw everything that I've worked
Worth it.
for in my life and like have to go through, because I've had friends who've gone through divorces. I've seen like their lives after. You know, you see somebody who's built up so much stuff and like, you know, working towards getting a house, and then all of a sudden they're in an apartment driving like a rundown Toyota Camry from like 1984 that's barely holding on with the wheels. And it's like,
Shit, do they
do
get
I?
it from A to B?
Right.
But it's like, do you really want to throw away all the work that you've put into a relationship? I mean, that's time and investment. That's time that you'll never get back. So
Well, I can speak for myself, right? I was that situation,
Mhm.
right? Like that example was me. Family, get ready to get a house, all these things. Now, I have my children, no family, live in an apartment, no
Mhm.
house, right? That's the consequence of my actions, right? It wasn't something that was flagrant and like at the moment, but it was my past. She couldn't get past the past of that.
Mhm.
And that's what I had to live with and deal with. And as men, you have to kind of come to terms with that. If you cheated, come to terms with what you did and what you caused somebody else cause pain. I can't tell you not to feel the way you feel if a man cheated on you. I can't. That's your stake in the trauma. But what I can say, as if moving on as people, right, we're trying to be better as men. And I don't think we should knock, because to me it's serious. For me it's serious. And the men who are taking it serious, we shouldn't knock those men who are doing that, right?
Right, and-
give it your best effort. You know, you may fall short, but no one's perfect.
And it's all on the individual, because it's the same, like there's women out there that cheat too.
Most
you know,
definitely. Stats say just as much as men.
yeah, and it's the same as when they say like, you know, men, they want sex. Like all men just want sex. Like a lot of women, that's all they want too. Like, you know, but then there's the
Ability.
whole, yeah, but then there's the whole like masculine, feminine energy, the way that it's been in the past. Like man is supposed to hunt and chase and go get that. You know what I'm saying? If he
Right.
doesn't come and get that, he don't want that.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's really what's in our minds. So,
It's very, very true. Like, I don't know if you ever read the book, The Way of the Superior Man, but like, again, breaks that down into like the science of it, right? There are people who are masculine and there are people who are feminine. Most men tend to be masculine, most women tend to be feminine. Sometimes that role reverses. There's a lot of masculine women, a lot of feminine men. It's not that you're gay or you're soft or you're not, what he breaks it down is men think logically, feminine think illogically, like irrational, right? It's rational
It's
versus
more
irrational.
emotional.
Right, it's emotional based. That's
Yeah.
basically what it is. It's more emotional based, right? We can make decisions if you're masculine, just pure off logic. Okay, this is what it is. This is what's going to happen. A lot of people are feminine. Oh, I want to do this. I want to do that. Why this may happen? Why this might happen? But like to find that in a mate, right? I think most men don't know if they fall under that line of being masculine or feminine. They may think they're masculine, and they have this portrayal of that. But really, you might not be that way, right? You may be a lot
You
emotional.
gotta search.
Right, you may be a little emotional.
Search
As
for
soon as you can
yourself.
tap into, because everyone has a little bit of both in them. Right? You got to be assertive at points. You got to be a little bit emotional at points to understand life, right? Emotional
Yeah.
intelligence is very important. Like, and find that in another partner. I think two people who are feminine won't work. Two people who are masculine. I mean, they could work, I guess, in theory, but you have to really work at that relationship. One of you have, the yin and yang, you have to balance each other out. You both can't be one thing. It's just not, it's hard. It's really hard.
It is very difficult.
Because even in like heterosexual versus homosexual relationships, one of those people are still masculine, still feminine. In most cases,
Energy, feminine energy.
right? It's one of it's just how it works. Some gonna give, some gonna take. That's just the scenario of that. But like but then the black men cheating, like cheating
That's
is
what I
bad.
was gonna say. Yeah,
But,
to
like,
bring- I think that it's possible. I think that the movement is possible. I think that the way that you present it, I understand that, you know, and I will always say it's on the individual. I personally don't see it as a male, female type thing. I always think it's the individual. So like with the cheating, like you're saying, like as you got older, you were able to see certain things, or after you had experienced in that relationship your ways, you were knowing now going forward, like, you know, you want to go into a man or whatever the case may be.
You want to be a better person. That's the ultimate goal, is always being better than you were yesterday or last year, or whatever the case may be.
You know, for me, like, one thing, just not even talking about it from the individual level, but like really to have like a mantra that really reestablishes like the black man in the black family going forward. That's something that we haven't really had since like the 1970s, when factories started to close down, and really where we started to see the degradation of the black man. So I think the fact that there's a new narrative that's promoting keeping the black family together outside of just like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Blackish, where you
Right,
see like
right.
positive black families on
Right.
coming together.
It's a really good show.
But like, if we can have a mantra where we can actually stand behind that says black men don't cheat, then you know what, that gives rise to other ones like black men are good fathers, black men are always there, right?
Right.
Not necessarily saying that like we aren't there already, but like
You just gotta change the narrative because the world believes that we aren't good fathers,
it's exactly it.
but
It's-
science says we are the most active fathers.
yeah, what was that? What was that?
It's like this is like whatever they try to push out to us is not what we really are,
Yeah.
which is why changing the narrative of certain terms and certain way they look at us is important, right? I want to. When you look at me, I'm not some sexual predator, right? We're like fantasizing the world. Like the black man is like the fetish for some odd reason, for either hatred or mandingo, something like that's like the you know what I mean. That's it is for us. And to be able to change those things as no, we're good fathers, we're not all in jail, man, we don't all cheat, bro, we take care of home, we do these things just like any other man would. Like that should be the constant narrative that's pushed. At least for me, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm raising sons, so that's
And-
my biggest thing.
My thing is that to white society, all black men do cheat. You know, that's what white people see.
Of course.
And
That's what they see on TV and
Yeah.
they push. What's up
That's
the
what they
narrative?
hear in the
That's the
visually-
narrative that's
yeah.
pushed.
That's what they hear in the
Visually,
That's what
oh,
they
of
see on
course.
TV. That's what when you see the criminals in like Law and Order CSI, it's always like, oh, single family parent or whatever, and stuff like that. But like now you have a narrative that's black men don't cheat. So then you start seeing black men and women together, like Big Sean's song "Single Again" too. You know, like that's another one too, where it's like talking about emotional intelligence, saying, you know what, if I am gonna fuck up, I'm gonna stay single. You know,
Yeah, that's big. That's what I've
Accountability.
through the accountability. Right, goes back to the.
It's like, I
beginning
know
of it.
it's me. I got issues.
Man, right.
That's hard.
It is.
It's hard.
It is. I've told many women that like the issue isn't you. Bro. It is clearly me. I will ghost you sometimes. I don't know why. I'm trying to work on that, but that's something that. But again, being transparent for me, like just sometimes I don't want to talk to people, so I just don't talk to people. I gotta be more better at like expressing that, but it's an issue that I have, right? But I'm working on it. Accountability is always great. Transparency is great. So another topic, since you are a woman and you are here, we are
President.
two men, right? Why don't women approach a man when they know they like this man?
Okay, I'm gonna bring it on back to daddy. Daddy is the hunter. Mommy is the prey. So, again, that is just something that we've been taught. Not only that, it's came to pass to be true. That if the man wants you, he will pursue you. Like you can set out your little bait, you know, let him know, hey, send a little wave. And then after that, daddy's gonna need to come chase, you know, just because you know you're who he wants. Like, I make sure that if somebody, you know, is attracted to me, then I give a little wink or something. You know, you put it out there, but I'm definitely not gonna chase you.
Okay,
You know.
I can see that. I can see that. But like, what if he don't know? But you know, like that dude.
I mean, I wouldn't expect anything from it. It would just remind me of like a high school crush. Cause I didn't crush before, I didn't.
But
you know.
why would you? But why don't you then go approach? Right? Because some women have masculine energy. So why don't you, in essence, become the hunter?
Right, it could be
Right.
that, you know, maybe I have before. Maybe I have went and got burnt. Like, hey, boo. And they're like, nah, ma, like, it's too much. It's too abrasive. Like, I'm supposed to come after you, boo.
A weak
You
man,
know?
though. A weak man feels that way.
It could be that he's weak or that his preference is for
Be the hunter?
him to be the hunter. Like, you know, I can't necessarily say that he's a weak man. It's just that a man, you know, that he would prefer to chase his meat. And
It's true, but I guess my thing is, men, air quotes here, are dumb, right? We don't take hints like as hints.
Right.
You gotta be very direct with us. If the hint's gonna be a hint, it has to be like, hey, I like you. Now the ball's in your court.
And I'm still gonna
Right.
question that shit too.
Right.
Like, does she
But the
really?
woman's gonna question it too.
Right?
Like when a guy's like, you know, I really like you, you know, she's gonna be like, do you really like me or do you like my physique? Do you like these curves? Like, you know, we all question.
And then to be honest, the answer has to be yes, because I don't know you really yet. So I like what you put out to the world.
Yeah,
I
what
like
you're
that.
presenting to me.
Right, I like that. And I think people, but I don't see looks or blah, blah, blah. I only see personality. But what attracted you to this person at first? You had to see him first or her first. So that has to be a mutual thing first. Once that happens, then, personality becomes a big part of it. There's a lot of people
So
who
you're
are
saying
beautiful
that
but are just terrible people.
attraction is at the eye at first.
Yes.
So that's what you're saying?
Yes.
I mean, I think there are certain situations where you can be attracted to somebody beyond seeing them. Like,
Initially, though.
yeah,
Initially, I have liked a man who finesses the room. He can be less fortunate looking, but to see him walk with confidence, the eye contact, and just knowing that regardless of how I look over here, I'm still that dude. Like, I'm still that shit. I will be so attracted to that. And that's just off a first glance. Like, you can be, unfortunate looking or whatever. So you say.
Unfortunate.
Yeah.
That's a good unfortunate. You're unfortunate
Yeah,
looking.
so-
But I like your personality.
Yeah, you can't help genetics.
but you know what? I think there are certain things that, at least for guys, that we can do where if you are unfortunate looking, you can still like
Layman's terms.
pursue a woman, right? And like I think a lot of that too
Confidence.
is personality. Like having a personality, owning yourself, not just being yourself, but owning yourself, where you feel like how you said, walk into a room, you're like, you know what? I don't really care what anybody thinks of me in this room
Okay.
because you know what? I am who I am. And when you reach that level of self-confidence with yourself, then you're gonna start to attract people anyway.
And it's a freedom in that.
Confidence is
There's
sexy.
a big freedom in confidence. But that's another, sorry.
But I'm not. But those are all very withstanding comments on that. But you don't agree that some type of attraction has to be just like a little bit like maybe I'm superficial.
Like by the eye. Yeah,
and
maybe you
maybe
are.
I'm superficial. And
Yes,
that's just
sir.
me.
And that's something you gotta dig and see. Like, because not everybody is like that. Like, yeah, I don't mind an attractive person. The same way I don't mind an unattractive person, like it's all about you and how you F with yourself. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, my teeth are messed up, babe, my teeth are messed up type stuff, but it always goes to confidence for me personally. But some people, they'll like someone who's a fine but an emotional
Stand on
wreck.
ledge. I'm like not like super like superficial where it's like a problem superficial, but yeah, I mean there has to be an attraction first before I then try to pursue.
Yeah.
Because if I don't look at you and go, man, I can see her next to me, like, and then like, because you haven't said a word to me, so I don't. My initial is that, and I have to see you every day. Like that's just me. That sounds messed up, but
I think
more
also,
people believe that than they want to admit. But I just
Yeah.
I think also to your point too, especially like with how things are with the dating world in this day and age, I think it's all off of attraction.
yeah,
Or
everything's
attraction.
visual.
Because everything now is off of an app, right? You have Tinder. Do people really like take the
No,
time
you
to
don't
read
You don't need no
those
bio.
bios?
Nah, you cute or you not cute.
Swipe right,
or
swipe left.
And our life, our whole society is swipe right, swipe left. That's terrible. But it's
Yeah,
very true.
and like, I
It's
think
programming.
if I can put it to anything,
I get
it's like
programmed.
it's like reading a blog versus reading a book. You know, people want to read the blog because or the Spark Notes and like, okay, I just got the tidbits
Highlights.
instead of like
Just the
actually
highlights.
reading the book,
Right?
right?
Just highlights. I want to see the highlights of it.
Yeah, nobody wants the actual detail anymore, and I think that's like,
Well,
I think
you
that's
know,
the best part of a relationship is getting the details.
It is.
Well, yeah, and then you have
Yeah.
these breakups because you don't get to know, like.
Because I'm superficial, right? Initial beauty is good to me, but once we have that, we've said, okay, you're pretty, I like you, cool, let's hang out. Then once that happens, and then I see where your mind is, that's where to me that's the biggest turn off. Because I'm a conversationalist, so if we can't have a conversation past you or me, this won't work. Because I want to talk about everything. The world is our oyster, so why do you always focus on what's happening in our lives and our drama? Well, no, that's not me. So I want to talk about everything. That's like the biggest thing for me. Yeah, that's me, right? Just attractive. You need to look pleasing to me aesthetically.
But that's the thing, attraction. But what type of attraction? So you're talking about the physical, and you said aesthetically. So.
Well, aesthetically, I mean, like,
I also think that attraction.
supermodel beauty, no, I'm not. To me, that's super superficial. Like, nah, I do not mean like that type of beauty. I guess confidence, right? The way you walk, the way you carry yourself, just that natural part of it, but then also cute in the face.
I think attraction, but I also think like attraction is different for different people too.
Oh, it
because
is.
A lot of people have
It's subjective,
value
for
different
sure.
things. Like I think like thinking about a blind person, right? Like they're not gonna go off of looks. It's all gonna be off of
personality,
Charles.
conversation, all right.
Ray
Oh,
Charles.
I can feel you a good woman. I can feel this.
But like,
That was creepy though.
you know, like, what about people that meet online in the chat room and they talk for like hours and months and whatever, and they never meet face to face, and then finally find out it's like 30-year-old guy and 70-year-old lady or some shit like that.
Well, because that's not being transparent. Now we gonna talk online. Show
no,
me
but
who
like,
you are.
it was
It
never.
could possibly
No.
be transparent.
It was never. It never came up in conversation. They were
Okay.
getting to know
Okay.
each other.
The
and all of a
attraction
sudden-
was here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was an attraction of the mind and heart, and
Mm-hmm.
then finally the last part about it was, you know, they see face to face, and it's like, oh, well, they have these different personalities, but you know, they still gel together because
But that can be, I guess, that's a different form of communication as opposed to me being out in the world and seeing you, right? Because you're not going to communicate on Match the same way you're going to communicate in this library when I see you.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like that's, I don't know. It's different. I think you have to be more open and have a better personality if you talk and meet online. Because initially we're meeting by saying, hey, and you get into the thread,
Mhm.
right? But here it's, damn, I like her. And then you go through, now how can I approach her, right? That's the next step. Online, there's no approach. It's just, we matched each other. So there's already a mutual match there. That part is over. Now let's have a conversation. It's different like that and how that goes. Because you're right, you're not wrong in that, but I just think there's two different worlds, right? The digital dating world and the actual physical dating world.
yeah,
Because you're right, you have to sell it. You got to, because I can love you, and, oh, you're so beautiful, but you got to buy what I'm selling. That's the point.
exactly. I mean, I think
You have to.
I think
It sounds
like,
terrible, but that's just the truth of it.
when you meet somebody in a club, right, and you're trying to pick somebody up in the club, that is like the definition of an elevator pitch because you got like 1 minute to prove like, yo, I'm
First
different than every other
impression,
motherfucker
baby.
in this
Yeah.
room who's coming to you already trying to buy you a drink, trying to get your number, or try to ask you for a dance,
Rub on your booty.
whatever method that they
That's a lot.
use, and like
That's a lot. That's a whole lot.
I think to really stand out in that, you know, that's really where you have to be a master of like sales and really selling yourself. And
You
to
do.
be a master of sales, of selling yourself, you really have to understand yourself.
You do, and that's a hell. You gotta be a hell of a confident person to pull a woman in the club, loud noise going around. You can't even hear each other. That's a different type of atmosphere. I don't like that. I don't like that atmosphere. Just personally, I'd rather meet you at a Fry's or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. We get it where we get it. If we meet and we can, you know, at the club and it's on, you know, the energy's popping. Anyway, church.
I also gotta go to a club to meet you at a club. I don't
That's
go.
true.
But I don't go.
I don't go either, but this is speaking for everyone.
So this has been really, really good, guys.
Yeah,
Like, I appreciate you, my brother.
absolutely.
I appreciate you, my sister.
All right, brother.
You know, I really, this is great. Man, woman, you know, we got some more growing to do, I guess. But until next time, hit subscribe, Knowledge Circle on YouTube. Appreciate y'all. Thank you.